Normally smart people of Reddit, what is the dumbest thing you've ever done? Okay, so several years ago I worked in a craft store. When we were going through the aisles cleaning up, we were supposed to grab any damaged items and put them in a specific bin. At the end of the night, the manager would kind of quickly go through it just to make sure everything in there was in fact damaged. So the one night she's digging through it and pulls out a wooden key. Who put this in here? She asked. I said I did. She asked why. I told her, it's supposed to be an E, but it's missing one of the prongs. My manager stared at me for a few moments before informing that it was in fact an F. This is like the guy who worked quality control at M&M and got fired for throwing out all the W's. Me and my glasses. Readjusts glasses. Starts looking even harder. God damn it, where are they? Took a quick break at work and went to get a drink. Stupid brain went on autopilot and I drove home. Not that far. Walked in. Took off work shirt. Plopped on couch. Turned on TV. Wondered where my girlfriend was cause she's usually home when I get off work. Looked up at clock. Realized I had 3 hours left on shift. Cursed a bunch. Got up. Put shirt back on. Grabbed soda and went back to work. I've done the reverse. Woke up at 5 AM, showered, eaten breakfast, gotten in the car and driven 60 miles to work only to get there and it's a Sunday so the yard's closed and has been since Friday. I love these lazy Saturdays. Stuck a pizza in the oven to reheat while it was still in the box and turned the temperature to over 400 degrees F. I read Fahrenheit 451 in high school, so I should have known that it was dangerously close to the flash point of that box. My roommate laughed at me after we got the fire out and assessed that there was no damage. He gave me a really hard time about it. I have an advanced degree. I'm not going to say in what because I'm afraid they'll take it away from me. My friend almost did something similar. Wanted to reheat KFC in the oven, but left it in the bucket. He still wasn't convinced a cardboard bucket in an oven wasn't a bad idea. This is the same guy that put a can of beans on a gas hob without removing the lid. How he hasn't been scalded or burned to death is beyond me. Edit. Tired brain spelling. I was once eating delicious table grapes and asked my wife and her friends, why haven't they made booze out of these? I thought I had invented wine and we drink a lot of wine. They were kind of shocked and still tease me about it. Maybe you should cut back on the grapes. Not a long story, had a lapse in judgment and decided to clean the end of my razor with my finger by swiping across it. You know the rest. I did that too. I was late to school, so I just grabbed some paper towels and let myself bleed until I could get to school. I've also done the same thing with 2 different burns on my arm. I didn't get them looked at for 2.5 hours LMAO. I've also touched an iron, because how hot can it really be? Really not my proudest moments lol. I was at the zoo buying a fountain pop from the cafe when the staff didn't give me a straw. I asked for one and he said that they do not give out straws due to the free roaming animals on the zoo ground. I asked, how am I supposed to drink this without breaking eye contact? He took the drink and removed the plastic lid. He does that 100 times a day. We are so used to straws now. People lose their minds at work when I tell them it's paper straws that even more people hate, or drinking with their mouths, which is apparently both offensive and impossible. I was watching television and was completely in awe when I said, the steering wheel on that car goes all the way around. I honestly don't know what I was thinking at the time or why it fascinated me so much. The brakes make it stop too. Poured coffee grounds into the water reservoir of the coffee maker. Tried to take a screenshot of a crack on my phone screen. Been there, done that. I thought that all rocks became magnetic underwater because when I dropped them under the surface, they would fall onto the bigger rock floor as if they were being pulled magnetically. Took me a good 3 hours to realize gravity existed. Not my proudest moment. How old were you when this happened? Too old for this to be a silly mistake. Late 20s I think, although it does sound like a thing I'd do at 35. I had a similar major misconception about the physical reality we lived in. I thought planes flew in the sky to get up to other countries. That's why you needed to go in them. Also thought you could swim under any island, and that continents were called continents because you couldn't. I was about 3.5 when I held those beliefs. Spent almost an hour searching my house for my phone while on the phone with my mom. She heard me getting frustrated and throwing things around and asked what's wrong. And I replied, real pissed off, I can't find my phone anywhere. I have been looking for it the whole time I have been talking to you. Oh, shit. Taken the bus home, 45 minutes ride. Then get home and think my car is stolen for a second before I realize I in fact drove to work. The sad thing is I've done it more than once. More than twice even. Not sure if this counts. Up until my freshman year of college, I thought that red plus green equals purple. Boy did I feel like shite when I discovered this in my chemistry class by arguing with a textbook, a chemist, and a classroom full of people. On the plus side, your self-confidence must be amazing. I can't imagine hearing my college chemistry professor, textbook and all my peers disagreeing with me and still thinking I must be right. When I was in 3rd grade this kid told me, if you make a circle around your chin with your thumb and pointer finger, basically choke/cut off the circulation, and hold it for 30 seconds, then give your chin a firm thump, you will get a bruise pretty quickly. I did it anyway, and then told a bunch of other people in the class and they did it too. We all had huge bruises on our chins in no time. Wander into the bathroom of a very old antiques store and take a shit. Once I finished I realized I was in a storage closet with antique bathroom fixtures, none of which were hooked up to plumbing. Not as bad as yours, but I got kicked out of an antique store for playing with this cool old antique cash register. Yeah, it was the store's actual cash register and the lady thought I was robbing her. I didn't realize that I could put 2 extension cables together to make it reach a further distance when I was working on site. Felt a right knob. I put a cup of water in the microwave, but the cup was too tall, so I poured some water out and put the cup back in thinking it would fit. Moo. I was making breakfast one morning and came across a particularly sturdy egg. Kept trying to crack it on the side of the pan and it wouldn't break. Started hitting it against the counter with increasing force until it straight up exploded in my hand. I don't know how I didn't see that coming. I'm left-handed, and for some reason, I was using my left foot for the pedals in an automatic car. I struggled to learn to drive because I always felt so uncomfortable in the seat. Felt that my right leg had no room and I also found it hard to find control how much pressure I was putting on the pedals. Took my 4 years to work out what I was doing wrong, and driving has been much smoother ever since. Went to check the mail. Mail key wouldn't turn in the lock. Weird. Tried for 5 minutes to turn it with my hands. Got fed up, grabbed pliers, turned the key. It broke off in the lock. It was the wrong key. I drink coffee every morning with 1 sugar. It's become pretty habitual. One night I went to make a chocolate milk, poured in the milk, then I went and grabbed the sugar from the cupboard, put a teaspoon of sugar in it, and took me a good 5 seconds to realize what I'd done. Being the smart kid I was in year 2, I went to the bin and threw out my Nutella sandwich instead of the Glad wrap at lunchtime holding the Glad wrap in my hand. Kid next to me looks at me and not knowing what to do I put the Glad wrap in my mouth. The kid proceeded to tell the teacher. Girl in my class had a cool short that had a bunch of little watermelon slices on it. My stupid brain came up with nice melons when I wanted to compliment her. I was making toast and once it was finished I was having trouble getting the toast out with my fingers. Then I was like, hey, I'll just use this knife I have here to poke at the toast and get it out, and I was just about to stick the knife into the toaster when I thought, wait a minute, knife plus toaster equals bad. Do I just have dumb luck? I always do this to get my toast out. Probably. I think you'll be quite shocked once you find out about the negative consequences this habit can have. Just today, actually, pour chocolate milk, put it upstairs. Memory of putting it upstairs fades off, and I go back downstairs. Look for chocolate milk. As soon as I turn off brain autopilot as I realize I was grabbing water, even though I already had a drink. Look for chocolate milk to no avail, assume it got sucked into the void. Grab the water, go back up. In room. Chocolate milk is there. Blister was annoying me, so I started stabbing it with my long ass nail. Didn't pop. Tried harder. Didn't pop. Messed with it with my teeth, like it was a hangnail. It popped. Pus went in my mouth. Tasted foul. Instinctively rolled car window down. I was driving, and spat. Spit went back across my face. I didn't check my backpack thoroughly enough before a flight. Left a really big throwing knife buried at the bottom. I was not amused. I was trying to be cool while talking to this girl in college. We were at the student cafeteria where I was working, and while we were in discussion, I accidentally knocked the pizza warmer lamp bulb onto one of the pizzas. It exploded and glass went everywhere. Sigh. When I was a kid, maybe around 12 or so, I wondered what it was like to smoke. My parents were smokers and often had me roll their cigarette for them. Grew up in the 80s where smoking around your kids and all that other dangerous stuff was acceptable. So I had convinced an equally stupid friend that we should go roll a cigarette and smoke it while my parents weren't home. We get the cigarette tubes out and the roller, but couldn't find the tobacco. Well, we were intent to smoke that day, so what was the next best thing? Catnip. Awesome idea. Somehow I felt like even more of a rebel. So we rolled the catnip up in a cigarette tube and headed outside with it. I had a trampoline in my backyard, so we get up on it figuring this is the best place to light this thing and give it a try. So with catnip smoke in my mouth, I light the thing and poof. The whole thing was so dry it burnt straight down to my lip in a big flash, and sizzled and crackled, and almost burned my eyebrows off, and the sparks and ashes fell onto the trampoline, and burnt a big ol' hole right through the middle. So for the longest time after that, whenever my parents were mowing the lawn, or out in the yard, I would run out there, just to make sure I could be on the trampoline, to ensure I could cover the hole, so they never saw it. I'm back. Again. Once I poured bleach all over my body whilst trying to bleach my hair. About 15 minutes later decided to play hide and seek. So I hid under all the empty, used trash bags my uncle had, in the garage, without a /c. In the middle of summer, I broke out all over my body. Just a walking puss ball. Use me as an example when you feel like raising your children as evangelical Pentecostals that expect the rapture to happen before your kid graduates high school. No. Wait. Waking up in Kansas City, Missouri after leaving with my drunk driving buddy from Minnesota. Or lighting a hay bale on fire trying to smoke pot. Or having Roman candle and bottle rocket wars. Or BB gun fights. Yes, shooting at each other with BB/pellet guns. Or hooking up the downed power lines to the old grain silo to the four-wheeler and then launching ourselves into the air like a roller coaster ride. Or destroying the four-wheeler shocks and hitting a homemade jump at full speed. It ended up with me rolling the four-wheeler, giving myself a bloody everything and a concussion while watching my dad stop the machine barreling toward my two younger sisters on the trampoline with his bare hands. That's probably why he was able to hit me so hard. Or taking the weird kid out hunting, because I felt bad he didn't have friends. He shot at a duck from at least 500 yards away. Shotguns can't shoot that far. And peppering my face with gunpowder while also nearly deafening my right ear. Should I keep going? I'm a successful business owner that hates stupid people. Probably because I see myself in them. Thanks so much for watching. Expect at least a few videos every week, so subscribe for some of the best of Reddit and much more to come.